What if AI, Zoom, and technology was actually making in-person, face-to-face, real human interaction more valuable than ever? Hey, folks, this is Todd Tremonti, and I've been leading a real estate team and brokerage in the DFW area and coaching agents all over the country for the last 20-plus years. And we do really well every year, and I absolutely love investing in others who are growing their business, who are trying to escape the chaos, the grind, and get into freedom and wealth building and impact. We always say we're building businesses to help us live the lives we want to live, especially lives of great income and impact. And this is commissioned. All right, folks, so here's the deal. If you're not paying attention to AI, I do think you're blowing it. If you're not using digital technology, whether that be Zoom or Teams or Google Hangouts or FaceTime or whatever the case is, you're going to get left behind in some way. It doesn't mean you can't survive. It doesn't mean you can't succeed. It just means you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity. But, and this is a big but, pun intended, this is a big but, the ability to connect so well digitally, to do so much with artificial intelligence and the internet and great AV technology is causing some, not all, but I think more and more and more, and the signs in residential real estate are indicating that I'm right, more and more demand, more and more value put on real, genuine, in-person, face-to-face interactions. So there's a couple of things to think about here. Number one, what do you do as you prepare and plan and build your business for a future that will both incorporate, highly likely, a significant use of artificial intelligence, the internet, maybe even humanoid robots, but also place a high value and premium on in-person interaction? That's what we're discussing today. This will be a little bit more of a conversation, but I do have a couple of very key pointers and suggestions that I'm going to make based on what I'm already doing in our businesses, not only the team and the brokerage, but also in coaching, and even things I'm seeing in ministry that I want to share with folks. So, Ian, when I say both and, when I think about our team and the way we coach our agents and coaching clients, and I'm saying you need to both lean more into AI and technology, but also more into real human interaction. What say you?
So AI cannot replace relationships. So the AI aspect can help you become more organized. It can get rid of some of the things that you're having to do manually that you don't need to, because you can train it to do those things. I think one of the huge benefits is that through that, you are going to hopefully have a little bit more availability and time to build relationships with people. We talked about on the show last week about how important it is to build those relationships. That's not something that AI can change.
Okay. I'm glad you made that final distinction, because I was going to give a good old podcast disagreement, which is always more interesting, because I disagree that AI can't replace any relationships, because there's a whole, I'm going to say subculture, because for now it's a small fraction of the culture that are engaged in pretty significant relationships with AI, whether that's just in a kind of an artificial emotional connection with a conversational tool that affirms you a lot. There's a lot of that happening.
I'm talking about relationships with my friends, relationships with my family, relationships with prospects. AI isn't going to be Ian at lunch.
Right. The point I'm making, though, and I heard your clarification there towards the end, but the point I'm making, because I think it further illustrates what we're saying, is people are supplementing real relationships with using an AI, even something simple like an AI chat interface. Obviously, there's a much more sophisticated AI than your Chat GPT bot, or even your Claude or whatever else you're using, Gemini or whatever else. But the point is, people are supplementing some of their human interaction with interacting, whether by text or audibly, with AI tools. There is some semblance of friendship. I mean, there are people even saying they have a romantic relationship with AI, which is weird to me, but it's out there. I think the point we're making, though, is even if that's true, then the value of the relationships that do exist with real people in the real world, can't believe we're even having to say this, but that's the world we live in, there's a greater value and premium on those. Maybe not even for everybody, but for a lot of people. And so let me just tell you where we're going here. Premise one, AI, technology, the ability to interact online more and more and more is making real interaction more valuable. Okay, period. Now, what do we do with that? Number one, that's going to be true for us too. It's already true for me, right? So please, please, please do more, not less of the following. Get in the room with your people, whether it's your clients or your team or your brokerage. If you're the broker, get with your agents. If you're the agent, get with your broker or your team leader or other agents, right? Get into a room where real things happen and real conversations happen in real time without the convenience of a delayed response or technology or looking something up. Get in real time, real conversations with people that matter for your life and your business.
Like, don't become isolated.
Absolutely don't become isolated. And then further, don't become uneducated. Don't become behind the eight ball. Don't become lacking in context and all the things that you benefit from when you're with people. And then there is the growth aspect of this, right? So AI is giving you all these incredible tools to learn and grow and add and strategize and plan. But please do not neglect the idea of being sharpened and sharpening others in a scenario like what we would say mastermind. But maybe it's just a team meeting for your team. But the level at which you would do this day to day, don't let your day-to-day interactions be replaced by technology and information. Let's say like on a weekly basis, don't let that weekly meeting or that weekly connection or that weekly lunch drift into a digital or virtual world when it can be in person. I think the bigger things are maybe that monthly or quarterly deep dive on something like a mastermind or a planning day where you would be with people that understand your context and give you feedback and you would give them feedback and you would have real life experiences, have some fun, have some food, have some real human opportunities, not because it's us against the machines, but because there's more value in that for mental health, physical health, personal growth, excitement, competition, and all the things that happen as, in my opinion, as God designed it, where people are called to depend on and sharpen and compete and help each other. And so please don't neglect that. And then the bigger one of the things that's been one of the biggest drivers in my life and career is literally going to live events, going to conferences or summits or lectures. And I think there was a huge surge during COVID-19 of people getting online and doing that sort of thing because they couldn't do anything else, right? There was an almost 2-year period where big live events were very hard to find or they just didn't exist. And so people got accustomed to, I'll jump on and jump off as is convenient, or I'll do that in the comfort of my own home. And we even saw a post-COVID mini boom in people wanting to get back into rooms with each other. But we didn't really recede our demand for technological or digital, interaction post-COVID. I had been begging our team to use Zoom for out-of-town client meetings forever. Now we do. The problem is we also sometimes use it with local people when we could go get face-to-face. So I'm encouraging team leaders, business owners, successful agents to go somewhat inefficiently get on airplanes and go take drives and get in the room for days at a time with coaches, consultants, speakers, lecturers, teachers, peers, and really get out of your normal context, get a little bit inefficient on purpose with the travel and things like that, and go have real deep, connective, learning, sharpening, humbling, exciting, at least emotionally relevant experiences with people in rooms where big progress is meant to happen. We host an event every year. That's one of the things we do to feed that for people because that's been so instrumental. It's been so helpful in my career. And so on the smallest level, don't neglect to meet and be face-to-face with your clients. You're going to build trust faster. You're going to have more fun. You're going to build greater relationships, more reciprocity, repeat, referral, and you're going to be able to serve them more. And then on the big end of the scale, on the major big impact scale is literally like conferences, summits, things like that. In between, you have everything from team meetings to client parties to mastermind events and coaches and things like that. The big premise here is real life in person, I believe, and evidence is already showing, will be more and more and more important and more valuable for you personally and professionally as whatever, as culture, as technology, as AI advances. Now, as we coach other team leaders and things like that, Ian, where do you see this playing out for, let's just say, for a team leader? How do you implement this? How do you, okay, I listened to your podcast, I agree. What do I do in my real estate business to use this to my advantage? What do you think people should do? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I'm doing is thinking through, hey, what are the things that get done on a weekly basis? Or what are some of the things that we were paying other people to do that can be replaced by using AI?
Yep.
Or we can train it to go and run market reports for us. We can train it to notify when there's new clients that have been signed and the documents are there, and it can move it into multiple different places for me instead of one person having to manually type in 2 or 3 different spots because of the way tracking happens. Like there's things like that that it can just be trained to do, which just makes life easier.
Okay, so AI is doing that. How do we then make sure we are focused on real life in-person interaction when AI is potentially replacing people or we're hiring less people? How do we participate in that with wisdom, but also get the value and take advantage of the fact that the in-person, the interactive, is becoming more and more valuable and more in demand also?
So we remind our team of the importance of it more than anything. There's nothing special about, I think, what we're doing to remind them, but it is important that stays, top of mind of, hey, don't just do a Zoom constantly. Like, did you figure out if it was able to be in person?
Yep.
Like, that's definitely more on the listing side of things. It can just be a little easier, I think, at times, depending on where it is. But for the most part, our buyer specialists, they want to be meeting face-to-face and going out and about. Like, they genuinely enjoy it. I think if you have a team that doesn't enjoy being face-to-face, you may have the wrong team members.
Well, and it depends on the type of team you wanted to create, right? Obviously, there's big global brands bragging about being completely virtual. And I'm not saying...
Sure, but if you want to have like a team that's, building the relationships and is like massively in on that, like you need to make sure you have the people there for that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, right? So whether or not that's an advantage is up to you. It's basically just a matter of preference. But even if you were to do that, what I'm saying is you got to have a strategy for getting face-to-face in life, personally and professionally. So for us, we do team meetings all together in person. We do morning huddles together in person. We invite our coaching clients into our office for 2 days at a time, 3 or 4 times per year. We host this annual summit for 2 or 3 days, once per year. We do a Team Scale Live event. By the way, if you want to attend Real Growth Summit, go to realgrowthsummit.com right now. Depending on when you're hearing this, there may still be some buy one, get one or ticket, early bird ticket pricing available. That event is September 16th and 17th, 2026.
If you have a team and you want to bring multiple people, reach out to me, ian@toddandmatrimony.com, and we'll see what we can maybe do for you. You know what I mean?
I didn't know he was going to do that, but it's Ian, I-A-N, Ian@toddandmatrimony.com. Okay, but the point is that's one of the reasons we do that, because people are getting hungrier and hungrier to get out of the context, out of the rhythm, detach, be in a room, have a meal, have a cup of coffee, talk during a break, listen to a speaker, get to meet the speaker. Those things are really, really valuable. On a team scale day-to-day in person, the person that's out having lunch and coffee with his clients is going to have a deeper relationship with the person that only ever texts and emails. It's just 9 out of 10 times that's going to be true. The team that's hosting client events and introducing people to new things and unique experiences and food and recreation is going to have a deeper bond, especially in a world and a culture where people are more and more hungry for that, where people are being told, oh, you can see the house virtually. Oh, we can meet virtually. You never have to touch a piece of paper. You can do everything digitally. When people are more and more wanting a real, tangible life experience, something for you to think about, I would encourage you to think of ways to implement that into your business, copy what we're doing, or click a link somewhere near this episode, jump on my schedule, on my calendar, and we'll talk about how you could implement this in your business or how you could implement or fix anything else in your business. I do those completely free for 10 or 15 minutes. I love to do it as long as I have time. And while we're on that call, if you wanted to talk about coaching or mastermind or attending one of our events, be happy to do that, but you don't even have to do that. So click the link near this episode or just go to realgrowthsummit.com and we'll see you in September at our event. I'll talk to you on the next one.